Woodward Bets back in the house on a Thursday. Beer and Scott here, just shooting money around here. This guy back in his Michigan garb. So we're certainly going to talk some college hoops on the show today. Both Michigan and Michigan State in action. I mean, look at this guy, Scott. I mean, you're in a festive mood here today. How are we doing, my man?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great day of sports, Beer. I mean, I'm looking forward to talking about some college basketball. We got some NBA Pistons going on. And, hey, I bet on Rory yesterday to win the golf, and he's whooping some butt. So, hey, I'm having some fun already today. I'm ready to drink some Modelo's beer, man. Let's do it.
There you go. If you missed yesterday's show, we had Mike Petta, Hoop 2410 of Run Pure Sports. That was one of his favorite bets. So, hopefully you guys caught that segment. We'll try to bring in more interviews, talk more golf. Up-and-coming sport, we'll say. It's fun to bet on golf. I mean, take a couple long shots, sit back. Hopefully get a 4-day sweat. Sometimes your guy don't make the cut, and it's a 2-day sweat. But DFS golf, a lot of fun as well. But the plan for the show today, breakdown, a lot of local action, like you said. We got college hoops. We got the Pistons in action tonight against Toronto. So we'll also potentially talk a little NHL. We'll see if we can make some magic happen here and talk some hockey. But, Scott, I saw a story yesterday I wanted to bring in, and it ties into your team here, a name most Michigan fans know, Nick STAUSKAS. Now, he's playing in the G League. I didn't even know he was still playing basketball. Obviously, former Michigan Wolverine. I believe he was the number 7 pick in the draft. Scott, this guy went absolutely nuclear the other night. 38 points scored in a half. G League record. I don't even know what he scored to end the game. I want to say it was in the 50s or 60s. Is this guy earning himself a spot in the NBA? We saw this happen with Isaiah Thomas. Not the Detroit Pistons great, the little lefty, the other Isaiah Thomas. He's back in the NBA, mainly on the strength of some big performances in the G League. Is Nick STAUSKAS working his way in there? 57 points. I mean, this guy could always play, no doubt. I mean, they've probably drafted a little too high and just kind of bounced around over in Europe, but a pretty impressive performance, Scott. Does this get him an NBA contract?
I mean, it very well could. I mean, we've seen some they've been pulling guys out of the woodwork here this season, so I'm not sure why he didn't get an opportunity. Maybe, I'm not sure if it's his defensive ability or what, but I can't say I dug too far into him. But I mean, he's always been a scorer. He's always been a great shooter. I mean, if you're the Pistons, you need a guy to just kind of stand outside that 3-point line and drop you down some shots. I wouldn't be upset if or even our own Pistons signed Mr. STAUSKAS here. But yeah, I mean, interesting. 38 points. I mean, I don't care what level you're playing. You're obviously shooting the ball well. That's what I think the Pistons need at this point. I was kind of hoping at the trade deadline they'd get a shooter, but I'm happy with Bagley. But I still think a shooter would do the Pistons pretty good. Would help them out immensely.
Don't hate it, and there's a couple reasons why. What do you have to lose? Bring the guy in on a 10-day. And I guess the argument is it takes away minutes from some of the other guards. Killian Hayes is still a guy we're wondering about. Is he going to be a part of the future here? Frank Jackson, a guy who's flashed in some minutes. So that part of it, sure, you take a few minutes away, but why not give the guy a shot and see what he can do? Second, obviously the local ties cannot hurt, I should say, bringing him in. A lot of fans will be excited about that. So, the Pistons need to give their fans something to be excited about. We'll see. I think it's a long shot. I think if he did this a couple times, maybe, this could be maybe more of a one-off, but a hell of a performance, and we wanted to bring it up here to open up the show. But welcome in to the show. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. It helps us out a lot. Subscribe as well. Give our Twitter page a follow at Woodward Bets, and make sure you're following the network as well at Woodward Sports. A lot of great content all throughout the day, including our boys, the Woodward Heavyweights. Make sure you're listening to their podcast. Scott, I know you want to talk some baseball here today. We'll watch this a million times. Easy, big swing and a miss. But the board, Manfred sucks. I know you got some thoughts on some of these young Tiger players here, so we'll talk a little baseball here before we dive into some college hoops.
Yeah, I mean, just a little upset with Manfred canceling them games. He's like being a baby about it. We're going to cancel the first 6 games. I mean, give me a break. You guys can squeeze them in. you guys, they're being a bunch of babies, if you ask me. Get this done. Get in there and start negotiating. But I did see in the news today that they got an inter-squad game going on with the Tigers. So Torkelson, Green, and Jacoby Jackson. I mean, we got 4 guys. I mean, Dingler's right outside the top 100, but I mean, we got 3 in the top 10, Torkelson and Riley Green, and then Jacoby Jackson, Jackson Jacoby, he's a little bit younger. I mean, I don't think he'll be up until probably maybe 2, maybe 3 more years potentially. But I mean, Green and Torkelson are on the doorstep. I'm just looking forward to baseball, beer. I mean, the sun's shining and it's supposed to be warm this weekend. It's like I can smell them hot dogs and peanuts and everything else, and then hearing that crack of the ball already. So, man, I'm just looking forward to baseball here, buddy.
Yeah, I got a question for you. Is it warm enough to get you outside to attempt this 40-yard field goal that you claim that you can make? We've talked about this many a times. It's supposed to be 65 degrees on Sunday, and you know that I love to bet on things, as do you. So maybe Sunday could be a field goal kicking day for you. What do you think?
That might be. I'm going to have to make sure the wind is in my favor, though, beer. I need all the help I can get. I'm a little bit I'm going to be 50 here soon. So, but back in my younger days, I could boot them through. I haven't done it in probably 25, 30 years, but I still think that I should be able to get it done. But yeah, we'll see about getting out there. Maybe I can. I'm going to have to make sure I got somebody that might have to drive me down to the local, first aid, the St. Mary's or something if I pull my hammy.
I was going to say, Spencer, cue the old man. I mean, any of the photos that you love to use here. I mean, this is certainly exactly what this is going to look like. Scott thinking he can do it in his rain boots, his sweatpants, right? He went on Google. How do you kick a field goal when you're 50 years old? It's just going to be Spence, what's going to be worse here? And Scott, I'm going to ask you as well. Scott's field goal attempt or Easy's attempt at crushing that Punchki? Which one is going to end worse? Now, Scott, pretty low bar here. I mean, if you kick the ball, that's a victory right there. That's a W. But man down, so it certainly applies here. But Scott, you kick it, I guess you hit the bar. But which one's going to end worse?
Oh, easy swing there. I mean, that was not a very good display of baseball skills there. We know Easy didn't spend too much time there on the baseball or t-ball or softball field in his day, but that's okay. We all have our place, and I'm sure you never know though. I may hit 2 inches in front of the ball and just trip and flip over that football. These turf monsters, I hear they're a little different. This turf's different nowadays. You go to all these high school fields now, beer. They got all this fancy turf and all that stuff. So we'll have to get out there, but we'll see if I can get out there. I'm gonna definitely give it a shot, though. I think that would be fun. We got to settle the debate. I even got the debate going with my team, with some of my bowling team, my friends. It's kind of turned into a little friendly inner circle debate, but I got some supporters though. I can say that.
All right. Well, I'm a supporter in that. I just want to see it. Succeed, fail. I just want to see an old man like you try to get out there and kick some. You think you're Morton Anderson or something here. So if you want to see Scott kick some field goals, let us know in that comment section here on YouTube, and we'll see if we can get that arranged here. Right. God, Spencer is the man. I swear. Spence, I love you, buddy. That's exactly it right there. Old man trying to kick some field goals. But if you are looking for a new mortgage, which will transfer over from old men kicking field goals to moving at Better Rate Mortgage, family more than blood. So if you are looking for that new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually get treated better with My Better Rate Mortgage. Visit mybetterrate.com and give them a call today. 248-480-4467, one of the great sponsors here of the Woodward Bet Show. So anything mortgage related, better advice, better service, better experience, give them a shout out or check them out online, mybetterrate.com. All right, Scott, let's get into some college hoops here for today. Again, big day locally. Both teams back in action coming off of that big game the other night with Michigan defeating Michigan State. So Michigan State back on the road at Ohio State. Looks like the Buckeyes 6-point favorites here. Michigan at home against Iowa, seeing mostly 2.5. This one's starting to tick up a little bit here. Let's start with the Sparties here, Scott. Underdogs. don't necessarily need a win. I think they're in. The 19 wins is plenty. I would be shocked to see them miss the tournament here. Thoughts on this game here? Do you want to go back to Sparty here? I know you hate Ohio State. So is that factoring into your pick here? What are we doing tonight with Michigan State and Ohio State?
Beer, as I've been saying here, and so far in this Big Ten, season here, winding down, I mean, to go against the home team has been pretty tough and hasn't been a very good adventure here. But Beer, I just think the Sparties here are Tom Izzo's in their ear. He doesn't like how they're playing. I can only hear him chirping, blah, 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 play harder. He's been mixing up the lineup a little bit. And I think he's going to have these Sparties motivated to come into Columbus and get a win. Now, it's always fun to root against the Buckies, as we know. But, man, they just look terrible. They look bad against Nebraska here recently. They lost one of their forwards here. So I'm hoping Christie can put it together tonight and these Sparties can get it done. So at this point, Beer, yeah, I'm leaning on the Spartans at this point. I think they should pull one out here tonight in Columbus.
Yeah, those injuries for Ohio State is really the story here. Kyle Young, Zed Key, a couple of their better players weren't able to play, and that's what kind of contributed to that loss against Nebraska. Young left that game. So still questionable tags on both of those guys. And, the losses to Maryland, Nebraska, it seems like a team going in the wrong direction, have now lost 3 of their last 5. Scott, Michigan State has done very well in this series. They have won and covered 5 of the last 6 against Ohio State. 75% of the money coming in on Michigan State here as well. The betting, it's somewhat split, almost 50-50 here. But when you see that discrepancy of bets and money coming in, those are kind of the things I like to look at. Bets can just be, hey, Johnny Five, Johnny Public betting on his favorite team. But where is that money going when you see it at almost a 3-to-1 clip coming in on Michigan State, coming off an embarrassing loss? It makes a lot of sense to want to go with the Sparties here. So I think I'm with you. I don't even hate a money line play here, Scott, especially if Young is going to be out. I mean, that's one of their key contributors, if not their best player. I like Michigan State plus the 6. Like them on the money line here as well tonight.
Yeah, I agree with it. Them injuries are big. I think that should help out Michigan State. But, Beer, I just think the mindset of this Sparty team, I mean, they got to be starting to get focused here. It seems to be what Tom Izzo seems to be good at doing here. I think that he's going to want to come out and finish strong these last couple games riding into this Big Ten tournament. So I'm looking for a victory out of the Sparties. I do like your call there on the money line. But to be honest, I think I feel a little bit better with those 6 points. I think that's a little too high. I think it should be like maybe 3. Before I looked at the spread, I like to usually guess in my head what it would be. And I actually had 2.5 or 3. When I saw 6, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I do the same exercise, and it's a good you do it all pretty close to what it's going to be. I thought 4.5. I thought they'd give Ohio State the edge here at home, but solid 6 across the board here. Don't see any different numbers at most of the books I'm looking at. So as far as the money line, if you were looking for that, I feel much better about the 6. I'm with you there. That would be the primary bet, a little sprinkle on the money line. Seeing that as high as plus 210 right now at DraftKings, PointsBet. So that's out at a couple places. So, 2-to-1 or more on your money. Don't hate it. Obviously tough to feel really good about it after what we saw the other night, but you got to let that go. These teams can bounce back. Look at Michigan. They bounce back in a big way. I think Michigan State does the same here tonight. Speaking of Michigan, let's go to them next. Hosting Iowa here. Again, some mostly minus 2.5s now. This one has moved a little bit. There still are some 2s available. So if you're on the Wolverines like Scott, you're going to want to take advantage and grab that 2 while you can here. But they did win this matchup earlier this season in Iowa, 84-79, and pretty much dominated that game. Didn't shoot the ball well in that one from distance. But, Scott, the biggest mismatch here, Iowa is awful in the interior. I mean, Michigan should be able to eat them alive down low here tonight. So what are we doing in this one? I'm guessing you're going with Michigan, but what is the pick here, Iowa and the Wolverines?
Yeah, I really like Michigan, Beer. I think Michigan's focused. I think they're playing well under Marinelli there. But Michigan's covered the last 4 out of 5 against Iowa here. And as you mentioned, they are pretty weak in the middle. I think Hunter Dickinson eats well today. He played really good against the Sparties, as we see with the 30 points. But I think Iowa is that's just too much for them to overcome, especially on the road. So give me the Wolverines. I'm going with both Michigan teams today. Give me the Sparties and give me the Wolverines. And the good thing in that is the Buckies lose too. It's a beautiful thing, Beer.
That is a 3 for 3 here. Now, I am not a Michigan homer or a Michigan State fan. As you know, I'm a Badger fan. So Scott's view may be a little tainted here. He's not a Sparty, though. So we'll give him that as home team here. It worked for him the other night. But, Scott, I'm with you on this one. As much as I'd love to disagree with you because it's good radio, good TV, good video, I'm with you on Michigan here. Liked what I saw the other night. They've already won this matchup. In fact, they've dominated this Iowa team. They've won and covered 7 of the last 9, including each of the last 5 here at home. So we mentioned it's a tough place to play. This was another spread that seemed too low. This one I had at Michigan -4. So to see it at half of that at -2, something I certainly want to take advantage of again. I think the biggest mismatch, Dickinson looked dominant the other night. If he can bring that same kind of energy, same kind of go get them, put the points on the board, get that double-double. I think Michigan in a good spot here. So I am with you here on the Wolverines. So a Michigan sweep here. It may seem like we're being homers, but again, these are not my teams. I just think both these teams are in a good spot tonight. All right, let's cover one more Big Ten game here, Scott. Penn State and Illinois. Illinois, big favorites here, as we'd expect. 12.5 total at 134. What are we doing in this one?
Yeah, I mean, who's going to stop the big man in the middle there for Illinois on Penn State? I just don't see that happening.
Massive.
Yeah, he's just a load. I mean, that was just such a good matchup watching him and Hunter Dickinson go after it. But I mean, this kid here is something special. It's fun to watch him. So, I mean, I just don't see how Illinois is going to have an answer for him. With 12.5 though, that does seem to be a lot. But Penn State is just they're just bottom of the barrel team here. I mean, 12-14. They're 10-16 on the over/under, 14-12 against the spread. But just kind of looking at these recent trends here between the two teams, the road team is 5-2 against the spread in the last 7 meetings. But Beer, that's not gonna faze me at all. I still think Illinois could win here by 15-20.
Yeah, I'm going to avoid the spread here. I'm going to go on the under in this one. I think Penn State could struggle a little bit here. I think Illinois can end up cruising. The spread seems about where it should be. I don't see any edge there. The other games we mentioned, we thought the spread would be here. It's lower than we thought it would be. It's higher than you thought it would be. You try to find those edges. I just don't see. This is exactly where I would have pegged this one. I had this one at 12. It's 12.5. The total, though, I know the last time they played went over 140. I think we get a slower, lower scoring type game here in this one tonight. So I'm going to go under here on this one with Penn State and Illinois. All right, let's get into the NBA. Before we do, Scott, Woodward Sports, we got to continue to spread the word here. So why don't you let people know some of the places they can find. Obviously, they're watching, listening to us right now. What are some of the spots that they can find some of the great content here at Woodward Sports?
Yeah, we're on YouTube. We're on obviously the Woodward Sports Network app that you could download. We're also on Spotify and on Twitter as well. But yeah, YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, and all the podcast applications. But yeah, if you're listening on YouTube, we appreciate you guys hitting that like and subscribe button for us. It really helps us out a lot.
Absolutely. We appreciate you guys. Look at that.
Look at that.
Spencer's getting more in the weeds here. I mean, that guy's got good form, though. I don't know that Scott's gonna look that good kicking field goals. Now, Scott was a former soccer goalie, so I know he's got some skills, but 50-year-old trying to kick field goals is never a good combination. So, Spence, you keep finding them images, you keep popping them up, you do your thing, big man. We appreciate it. All right, let's talk some NBA here tonight, Scott. I'll run through the injuries here as always. Headlined by Kyrie Irving, once again missing for Brooklyn. Kevin Durant expected back in the lineup, kind of surprisingly. They thought he'd be out a little bit longer. So we'll see if Durant's back, but do they ease him back in or not? But anyway, no Kyrie Irving tonight. Anthony Davis remains out for the Lakers. No Jaylen Brown for Boston. Saw him leave that game early the other night. So Jason Tatum once again in a good spot. No Paul George. Kawhi Leonard remain out for the Clippers. Kyle Lowry out once again for Miami. No John Collins for Atlanta. Detroit matching up with Toronto. They will not have OG Anunoby and Fred VanVleet questionable here tonight. So Lonzo Ball remains on the shelf for the Chicago Bulls. Ben Simmons not ready to make his debut yet for Brooklyn. I don't know that we see Ben Simmons this entire season. We'll see. And then we also have questionable tags on LeBron James and Jimmy Butler of the Miami Heat. So we'll keep an eye on those guys. Scott, let's open up some DFS here in the NBA. Who are we looking at for those FanDuel and DraftKings lineups?
I mean, Boston's going to be the place to start tonight. No Jaylen Brown. So, I mean, Tatum's going to be a guy you want to look at. I think Marcus Smart's going to be a guy you want to look at. But some of the spend-ups today, I think that you probably going to want for one, without Brown, I think Tatum is definitely a guy you're going to want to look at. And DeJounte Murray is another guy too. But Beer, I think if you want to try to pivot and maybe you want to go off a little bit of those guys. I mean, I can't even argue with you if you want to play Ja Morant. The guy's so much fun to watch. I mean, if I'm sitting there watching basketball, I think that's the place I would probably start at this point in time with the NBA. I'm going to figure out where Ja Morant is. That guy is just incredible to watch. And he's fun to have in your DFS rosters. But really, Beer, everything really around Boston. I mean, they play such a tight group of guys. And without Brown, I think that's going to open up quite a bit, especially with that usage going have to go elsewhere.
Yeah, and he gives you some nice correlation. You know, if you're going with some of these Boston guys, you mentioned Tatum. I think Smart's one of the better mid-range plays on this slate. Ja Morant gives you that run-it-back guy on the other side where this game stays competitive. It's back and forth. It's only a 2.5-point spread. You know, those are kind of stacks that can help win you tournaments. So I agree with you. DeJounte Murray against Sacramento, I mean, that's one of the best matchups that you can ask for. That guy is a walking triple-double. Obviously, Tatum in a good spot without Brown. The numbers just through the roof when he misses. Can never go wrong with Luka. So those are some of the high-end guys as far as value plays. You know, DeAndre Hunter with Atlanta starting to play more and more minutes here, especially with John Collins out of the lineup. So he's pretty cheap at just $4,400 on FanDuel. Jeremy Lamb getting big minutes with Sacramento. He's only $4,100. Malik Monk, I think another guy with the Lakers, going to play some big minutes. You can look his way. And Chris Boucher here locally against the Pistons. Doesn't get a ton of minutes, Scott, but this guy can produce in limited minutes here. We know what a good matchup it is against this Detroit interior, so I don't hate him either. So some quick thoughts here on the NBA here for tonight. Scott, why don't you let the people know about one of our other great sponsors of the show here. That's Jars Cannabis.
Yep, you can shop jarscannabis.com. They offer delivery, pickup, and in-store shopping, Michigan's largest variety for any of the lifestyle needs. Jars Cannabis is a medical and recreational retail seller throughout Michigan, Lansing, Detroit, Flint, Grand Rapids, and more. And hey, you spend $100 in there, you get 20% off your order, which basically means for listening to the show, you get a couple pre-rolls or a little bag of edibles for checking us out. So definitely appreciate you guys going over there and listening or checking them out. Really nice store. I've been in there a couple times and enjoyed each time. So make sure you guys are over there checking them out.
JarsCannabis.com. Make sure, go and check out all the great offerings over there. So, Scott, I had something easy, brought something to my attention here. We're going to talk some NHL here in a minute. We got to get the people their hockey fix here for sure. But Easy sent something over, and Spencer, I don't know if we have the graphic or not. If we do, we can put it up. If not, no big deal. But it was the Rookie of the Year leaderboard, according to NBA.com. As of right now, number 1, Evan Mobley. I don't think any surprise. Here's where the drama comes in, Scott. Remember, tonight is Toronto and Detroit. Number 2, Scottie Barnes. Number 3, Cade Cunningham. So Easy wants to know, is this a good sign for Cade? Is he going to have a little, does he see this? Is it going to affect him tonight? Is he going to go over on that 17.5 points? Easy fishing for some picks here, but an interesting race here. I think Mobley, I wouldn't say he has it locked up, but if he stays healthy, the way that Cleveland team is playing, really hard to disagree with that. But I don't think either of these guys are out of the race yet, Scott. So is this going to give a little extra motivation for Mr. Cade Cunningham tonight?
I mean, if you're competitive, obviously he reads the same things we do. He knows who's coming into town. I think this is the kind of matchup, you get a little bit more focus for. I mean, anytime you're compared to somebody, I mean, it's got to just be human nature to want to be able to succeed. So, yes, I do believe that Cade Cunningham will be focused. And, yes, I do like his over in points and assists today in this Piston game tonight.
Bam! Watch this. Little magic. There it is.
Oh.
The beauty of magic.
There it is.
You just clap your hands and Make
Jazz
shit
hands.
happen. Beastie joining the show here to talk some NHL. My man, how are we doing here on this fine Thursday afternoon?
I'm outstanding. I got to tell you, I don't know if any of you have left the house yet, run some errands, went to the store. I did, and I had the windows all down. It's like 35 degrees or 40 degrees, and we know that we know you're a true blue Michigander when you're running around with the sunroof open, sunglasses on, and you're like, well, what's the degree? Oh, it's only 40 degrees outside, but that's the beauty here. We're riding the roller coaster of a late winter here in Michigan.
Right. We hope this winter is behind us. We know there's always going to be, that last blast of snow. We're going to get some colder days. I mean, we got a 65-degree day that Scott's going to go out and attempt some field goals. So that's coming up this weekend. But you are here to break down some hockey, my man. So let's get into it. Thoughts on the slate, some plays, some bets, whatever you want to do. Do your thing. Hockey, what do we got for tonight?
Yeah, thank you so much. We got 9 games. Look at that. I love a day where Woodward bets graphic is just maxed out from start to finish, whether it's basketball or hockey like it is tonight. So as I said, there's 9 games on the schedule tonight. First puck drop is at 7 p.m. in Florida. The Ottawa Senators travel to Florida to take on the Panthers here. And then the last puck drop is in Vegas tonight. You always want to go to Vegas and hang out, but the Boston Bruins go to take on the Vegas Raiders here. From start to finish, this is a pretty interesting slate here because you have the likes of Edmonton, who I think lose to Chicago and only hang 2 goals. And we have the likes of Colorado playing Arizona, which that's the team you're going to want, the Colorado Avalanche, their first line. I'm not going to bore folks with that. I'd like to give away or talk about content that isn't low-hanging fruit. I'd like to think, correct me if I'm wrong here, boys, that anybody that's watching the broadcast or writing down their notes or so, I don't want to treat them like they're stupid. Colorado's playing tonight. You stack Colorado, so I'm not going to waste a ton of time there. However, I do want to rewind a little bit. Let's go to New Jersey and watch the Islanders host the Vancouver Canucks this evening. I know if I've ever been on the show to talk hockey or you've read any of my tweets, I just absolutely love the Vancouver Canucks first line, but not tonight. I would prefer the Islanders first line in this one. Brock Nelson, Anthony Beveler, and then Anders Lee here. All 3 guys on FanDuel, very reasonably priced. Brock Nelson only $6,100, and then Anthony and Anders Lee $4,000, $5,000. So this one here, the Islanders first line, as I said, they've skated in unison almost every night for the better part of 2 seasons here. There's a couple teams in the National Hockey League here that they're always moving around their rosters. Colorado's kind of been like that. Dallas has kind of been like that. Even Pittsburgh has a lot to do with injuries or just stagnant line combinations. But the Islanders, without fail, their first line is always there. Brock, Anders Lee, and Anthony Beveler here. So look at New York Islanders this evening here. I want to head to Calgary if we may. It's 40 degrees here. Who knows what the heck's going on in Calgary here? But the Montreal Canadiens are going to Calgary tonight. And as much as I would like to think Colorado is going to hang 6, maybe 7 goals against the Coyotes in Arizona tonight, Calgary might do the same thing. And it's the same cast of characters. Their first Calgary Flames first line, Elias Lindholm, Johnny Hockey, Blake Coleman, these 3 guys. To be fair with you, in hockey, they call it a top 6 role, which is just your first 3 lines, that you got 3 guys on each line. So boom, that's 6. You can move in a defenseman here. The Calgary Flames top 6, it's always moving around in terms of line combinations, but the players stay the same. So to me, on any given night, Calgary 1, Calgary 2, always in play. Tonight, though, you can't get away from Calgary 1. Like I said, Lindholm, Johnny Hockey, Johnny Godot, and Blake Coleman here, again, hosting the Montreal Canadiens. When you look at this one, all Calgary's projections, you're looking at 4.8, maybe even 5.2 total goals in comparison to the Canadiens. Like you're looking at a woeful 2.5, maybe, 2.5 goals scored tonight for the Canadiens. That might be a little ambitious, but I want to tie this thing up in a bow, which I always say that, especially on this broadcast, and I don't know where it came from. I never talk like that in my regular everyday life in a business. Yeah, I'm going to get out of here. Business being tied up. No, Boston is playing in Vegas, as I said here. This is the game I've told folks this before. We all have our own little quips. We all have our own little thing when we play DFS. We listen to the same song, whatever you're doing here. To me, I always look at a slate and I pick one game. First thing in the morning, I pick one game, and that's the game I'm going to stack from start to finish. And then I use that information in a GPP. Boston 1, Vegas 2, Vegas 1, Boston 2, and then we get down the list here. So to me, Boston and Vegas is the completely a stackable game here. Over under, which is shocking to me, guys. It's 5.5 goals. Over under 5.5 goals. When I have the final in my notes from what I've done, I'm thinking, the Vegas Golden Knights here win 5-4. So you're looking at 9, maybe 10 goals in this one. So I won't even wait till best bets to tell folks I'm smashing the over on this game. And then whatever way you want to slice it. Personally, I would prefer the Vegas second line tonight if you're going to mix and match there. And that's John Marshall, Riley Smith, and a little taste of Chandler Stevenson. You can't go wrong whatever you do. But if I had to pick one single line out of this game, it would be the Vegas Golden Knights second line. And then when you look at the Boston side of things, these guys they're always on point, or they're always just going to explode at any time. Maybe tonight's the night, especially if we bet the over. Let's see it run here in Boston 1, just same guys per usual. Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, and they actually moved Jake DeBrusk up to their first line. This guy, he's been on the bubble, on the cusp of a top 6 role, but now boom, he's in their first line and then second line power play here. So as I've said, the Islanders first line, give me all the Boston and Vegas here, and that's what way I'm going tonight here, boys.
Here we go. Great breakdown as usual. 9 games all summarized and tied into a bow. Like you said, nice and tidy here in the NHL. So appreciate you hopping in. One thing we didn't get to when we talked some NBA, Scott, the Pistons. Let's dig into that game here. BC, I'm sure, has some thoughts here on the game tonight as well. And then we'll wrap it up here with our best bets with hockey, NBA, college basketball all on the board. There's that rookie of the year. So again, Cade Cunningham, we asked the question, is this going to provide a little upward momentum, a little extra motivation for him here tonight? But Scott, we got an 8.5 point spread on this one, 217.5. One of the things I found interesting, the Pistons have absolutely dominated this matchup, which we have not been able to say much about the Pistons here, but they have won, 5 in a row here against the Toronto Raptors. So 103-87 back in January, their matchup this season. Scott, can they make it 6 in a row? They haven't dominated many teams, but Toronto, they've had their number the last couple seasons.
Here, they've covered the last 5 in a row against them. As you said, they won the last 5, and they're actually 8-3 the last 11 up in Toronto. So I just think here, there's a little revenge thing there on the Pistons bench, obviously, him being the former coach of the Raptors. But yeah, I like the Pistons tonight. I think Cade Cunningham, I think he's going to be motivated to play well tonight. I do like his point and assist prop. And give me the Pistons tonight. I actually like the Pistons on the money line, Beer, as crazy as that sounds.
Wow. We're going extra homer today. All the Michigan teams. So again, you put those parlays together, sit back, watch your favorite teams. And this is not my team again. There you go. And this is not my team, but I agree with you. They've played well in this matchup. They've been very competitive here of late. You got the coaching angle, like you mentioned, returning back to Toronto. You got Fred VanVleet questionable. OG Anunoby is out. You got Jeremy Grant back in this lineup playing well, 24-5-5 the last time these two teams met up. And he's one of the props I really like tonight, Scott. You can get his points, rebounds, and assists at 24.5 over on FanDuel. It's a -120 on that over. But if there's one prop I like in this game, it is Jeremy Grant. I think he can get to that 24.5 on points alone. So you build in a little extra there, grab some rebounds, a few assists, and boom, you are cruising. So Pistons for me, Jeremy Grant over in that points, rebounds, and assists. Beastie, any thoughts here tonight, Pistons and Raptors?
My only thought, it's not, the real life basketball from a DFS perspective. I know you probably covered that right before I joined here, but when I look at this one, I'd like to say as an outsider looking in, but I'm in, I'm in Detroit. Pistons are my team. But when I looked at this game, like from a 10,000 foot view, objectively, I'd have to lean Toronto here. They're giving the Pistons 9 points, but when you go down the list here, I tell you some nights if I build an NBA line, it's on a ceiling game or it's DVP. ADP. And when you look across the board here tonight, the Pistons not very good against point guards, power forwards, even, you know, a little mixture of shooting forwards and power forwards here. And again, I think we see a night here where we could have a little bit, a ton actually, of Scottie Barnes. And I even like Mekhi Flynn. I know he's on the bench right now, point guard, shooting guard, you know, eligibility here. But this kid, I believe he's like $6,200 on FanDuel, and you're looking at 30 minutes from him here. So again, I could see it that the over hits without a doubt. You know, you're looking at 115 to 110, something like that here. But to me, objectively, I'm going to lean Toronto in this one. I'll give the Pistons the points. I think Toronto still covers, but I do like the idea of mixing and matching some of these Raptors in my DFS lines this evening.
There you go, little extra something on the other side. So you know, that's the thing with the Pistons. You never you never know. They can be competitive. They can get blown out. We say it all the time. So you know, some people look at us 8.5, 9, say it's too high. It's too many points. Some will look at it, say it's not enough points. You know, Toronto could roll here. So you know, the status of Van Vliet I think is important here. But your points are certainly valid. You know, we've seen Detroit that we thought they were playing well, and boom, they lose by 30. It's still a road game in the NBA. One more bet on the prop side I like, guys. Saddiq Bey just chucking a ton of threes right now, even with Grant back in that lineup, which I think has helped him. And this guy's threes, you can get over 2.5 on his threes at minus 108. He's been doing that a lot lately. Has done it in both of the games against Toronto this season. Hit 3 threes in both of those games. So another extra prop here if you're looking for that. Saddiq Bey over 2.5 threes. So let's get into the best bets here for tonight. We got NHL, college basketball, NBA, a lot of choices here, boys. Beastie, you popped in. You get to lead us off here. Best bets Thursday night. What do we got?
Yeah, outstanding. Thanks for having me. I'm going to keep it with NHL. Where the heck else would I go here? But we look at this one. I'm all over the Chicago Blackhawks. I know that might be wild because they're hosting the Edmonton Oilers, but the Chicago Blackhawks are plus money. They're about plus 125, if I'm not mistaken, hosting Edmonton. I think it's lower scoring than people think. And I believe you could take the Chicago Blackhawks on the money line. I think Chicago wins outright 3-2. So give me Chicago plus the 125. Colorado, everybody's, looking at Colorado minus 1.5 goals. That's easy peasy. I think Colorado wins by 4 or 5 goals here. So, like Scott always says, if you want to tease it, take Colorado minus 2.5 goals in this one against Arizona, and then let's, tie this thing up. As I've already said, I love the Calgary Flames here tonight, hosting the Montreal Canadiens minus 1.5 goals. So give me those 3. And again, I already gave you the over/under in the Boston Vegas game. That's an outstanding one as well.
There you go. You're betting some hockey. You're all set. Scott, so where are you going here? I'm guessing not hockey, college basketball, NBA, combination of both. What are your favorite bets of the night, my man?
I got one college and one NBA for you. In college, I'm doing it, Beer. I'm going with the Sparties tonight against the Buckies, who as I like to say, let's say it together now, both schools, Michigan State fans, we all hate the Buckies. It's a lot of fun to give them the So anyway, I'm going to roll with the Sparties. I think that's too many. I'm actually going to take them on the money line here tonight, Beer. And then the other one I have tonight, I am going to roll with the Dallas Mavericks tonight against the Golden State Warriors and Seth Curry. The Mavericks are 8-1-1 against the spread. The Warriors are 1-8-1 in the last 10. The Mavericks have been dominating this series at home. So give me the Mavericks. There's just no way they should be underdogs at home to Golden State here at this point.
There you go. I'm going to mix it up as well. I'm surprised you didn't go Michigan. I was going to say you're stealing my pick. You go Sparty. I'm going to go Michigan tonight. I think this spread is too low. They've already beaten this Iowa team. Dickinson should have his way down low against this terrible Iowa interior. Love Michigan here tonight. So I'm going to go, especially and grab a -2. Certainly do that. And I'm going to go with Brooklyn tonight. I think the return of Kevin Durant really going to energize this Brooklyn team. Miami missing their point guard in Kyle Lowry. That cannot be understated. As good as Gabe Vincent played the other night, he's not Kyle Lowry here. I think the return of Kevin Durant, we've seen this spread really start to turn here. Was Miami -3. We've already swung, boys, all the way to Brooklyn -1.5. I like the Nets even at that -1.5. So Michigan -2, Brooklyn -1.5. Couple small favorites for me here tonight. One of our other favorites and our best bet in the mortgage area, Better Rate Mortgage at Better Rate Mortgage, family more than blood. If you are looking for that new mortgage, guys, Come get treated like family. Actually, get treated better with My Better Rate Mortgage. Visit mybetterrate.com or give them a call today, 248-480-4467 for all of your mortgage needs. Guys, final thoughts for the people here Thursday. Beastie, what do we got?
No, take it easy. I kind of say the same thing every time we talk, but I guess it's kind of valid here. Just be happy and be in peace. Don't overwork yourself. Set boundaries with folks. It's okay to say no. If we're not good here, we're not good to anybody else. So just be in peace this evening.
Hey, that message can't be said enough. So keep bringing that same message. We appreciate it. Scott, final thoughts for the people Thursday night. What do we got?
Yeah, we appreciate everybody listening. Hit that like button on the way out, the subscribe button, and always remember to gamble responsibly. And, yep, there you go. Hey, man, that old skipper's got some great form. I mean, look at that little bend in the hip there. But, yeah, I'm going to have to get out there and see what we got here this weekend. But, yeah, looking forward to some great sports action tonight.
I mean, you go from that great form. Spencer, can we get easy one more time to close the show? We go from great form and that field goal. That guy's got to be a former kicker. I'm going to call that out here. But to some terrible form here in the Poochki swinging. It's big swing and a miss. Easy, we love you, buddy. We're maybe got to get it easy out to one of my softball practices. If any of my softball girls swung like that, they'd walk away. I'm done. I quit. I'm done. So easy. We'll get you up to speed, buddy. We'll hit the batting cages one of these days. But thank you so much for tuning to the show, guys. We appreciate each and every one of you. Again, if you're enjoying the show, wherever you're listening, leave a review, leave some feedback. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. And like Scott said, if you are betting on these games, do it responsibly. Do it within your means. Have some fun with it. Lots of local teams in action tonight. Sit back, place a couple bets, and best of luck on those wagers. So for my boys, Beastie and Scott and Spencer, behind the glass, I am Beer. We are Woodward Bets. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the games tonight. Best of luck in your bets. We'll catch you right back here tomorrow, 6 o'clock, talking everything on the Friday slate. We are out.